Good evening. I'm calling the March 17th meeting of the Amherst County Board of Supervisors to order. Let the record show the time is 7:12. Apologize, our last meeting went a little over. The first thing, Board, is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of adopting the agenda as prepared signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. If you would, please rise and join us for the invocation led by Ms. Tucker, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which I will lead.
If you have a hat, please remove it. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you today to make the best decisions that we possibly can. We ask for your wisdom. We ask for your guidance. Lord in heaven, please protect our law enforcement officers as they risk their lives every day for the citizens of Amherst. Please protect our military as they come into harm's way throughout the world. Please protect our teachers. Please give our teachers wisdom and guidance as well. Please protect our public safety folks. Please give this board wisdom to do the best job that we possibly can for the citizens of Amherst. Please give the citizens of Amherst patience. Please let them hold their elected officials accountable. Please let them participate in the process. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will move on to the citizen comment. Is there anyone signed up, Mr. Bryant? All right, is there anyone that would like to address the board? Mr. Harvey, please come forward. State your name and your district.
Cook Costa Harvey, District 1 off Ebenezer Road, and I start
3
my time.
minutes, please.
Yes, sir. For any of you who doesn't know, I'm running as an independent candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives for Virginia's 5th Congressional District, and I'll keep it brief. I bring solutions. You can figure out the problem, I think, in your head. Solutions are, I would bring to gridlock and government shutdowns. I would bring solutions to a mid-census redistricting. I bring solutions to an escalating political violence throughout our branches of government. Solutions to the monies in elections. I'm not taking any monetary donations in this campaign, and you won't get any emails asking for money. I bring solutions to the inevitability of 50% of the citizens not feeling representative, and I hope the whole country can see by adding choices onto the ballot, it diffuses and dilutes the power of the two-party system, which I believe is preventing us from moving together as a united people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Sir, if you would come up. State your name and district, and you have 3 minutes, please.
My name is Danny Fields, District 3. My concern has to do with the current assessment on real estate, and I will make it brief. First, I never received a reassessment on property in the mail. My neighbors told me about it, and I went on GIS and got it. I'm a retired commercial banker, but I'm also retired military. The current rate is 61 cents, and I listened to part of the budget. My assessment went up 57%, from $489.5 to $733.5. If you have a mortgage on your real estate, this is going to impact you because most mortgage companies require escrow. On my personal level, the tax increase is approximately $1,489 a year. The way a mortgage loan works, when they pay the taxes mid-year, they'll be short, in my case, approximately $745. In December, when they pay the second half, I'm going to be short to $1,488. That can be made up in one of 3 ways. I can pay it out of pocket to avoid my payment going up. They can increase the payment. They will increase the payment if they do that, approximately $373 to make up the shortfall. My wife and I both are on fixed income. If my mortgage payment goes up $373 a month, that is a chunk. It just went up $500 and some dollars because of, I'm on an adjustable rate mortgage on a 5-year adjustable, and it just went at $550. So I'm looking at almost $1,000 a month more than what I was paying in March. My insurance is only part of it. Everyone's electric bills. My electric bill's gone up 142% since March of last year. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm putting out about $1,500 a month more right now. If you tack on another $300 some odd dollars, I'm looking at close to $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year. I didn't get the kind of cost of living increase in the military, minimal. And the increase I got, it was eaten right back up by the insurance. I got a net of $28 a month. That's not a whole lot of a raise. To keep it somewhere near level, there's no way the 58 cents is going to, get to where it needs to be. I know that. To get down to where my taxes stay about the same, my real estate's got to go down somewhere around 39 cents, and I know that's not going to happen. But I just ask that you think about everyone in Amherst County that has a mortgage loan, and I don't know if you realize the impact it could have on the monthly payments, but it can make a big impact. I just ask that you consider that, when you set the rate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to come forward? State your name and district, please. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Gloria Witt. I'm with District 3, and I'm here on behalf of NAACP as Political Action Chair. And what I wanted to talk about today is the Resolution 2026-3-R that documents the board's opposition of congressional redistricting amendment opposing the process, which is a very nuanced way of stating it. So why am I here? First of all, NAACP is a bipartisan organization. However, we're very political when issues address equality and democracy, et cetera. So why am I here? After that board meeting, my phone started ringing and ringing and ringing, and people catching me in public spaces. And the perception of that decision is that the Board of Supervisors actually advised constituents to vote no on the constitutional amendment for redistricting our maps. And all of the posters around Amherst County pretty much reinforced that, quote, misconception. So I want to use my time to reframe that perception that's out in our community, because there are opposing positions to opposing the process or voting no. So I'm here to say vote yes, and to really educate the community on why we should vote yes. 4 reasons why. Number 1, Virginia is the birthplace of America. We started it, and Virginia needs to save democracy. It's bigger than Amherst County. Number 2, voting yes levels the playing field. It's not about stealing, it's about leveling the playing field. Because we all know that Trump started it in Texas. When he asked Texas to find him 5 seats, and he asked North Carolina in 2023 to find him 3. So it started way back then and started escalating. So along with other states, red states now, playing in this game of redistricting. And what's make it unique for me is the fact that they do the backroom thing, and Virginia is trying to practice democracy. And as they attempt to jerry-rig or rig the midterm elections. So Trump started it in Texas, and we need to finish it in Virginia. Finally, it's a temporary measure. It only lasts through 2030. After the census, Virginia is returning back to bipartisan maps. So I believe Virginia is demonstrating democracy by allowing our citizens to decide. We all get a vote, and we each have a decision to make to empower and express our voices and not be, let's just say, led by people who might be misinformed. I know that was not your intent, but the result was the same. My phone started ringing. So I encourage everybody to vote early and really look at the big picture. It's about democracy.
Thank you, Ms. Witt. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? If you come forward, state your name and district, please. And you have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Barbara Pryor, District 2. The Board of Supervisors is a link between the residents and the county. And you're our local government, and we depend on you to get a lot of information, particularly now that the media is being controlled more and more by big corporations. So we're living in a very biased and uneducated community. I think it would have been appropriate, and maybe still would be, if the board would have a forum explaining what this resolution is and how it came about. But it got me thinking about resolutions and the role of them. It is an option for the community to say what their values are. So I started thinking about resolutions, and I just spur the moment. How about a resolution calling for the end of foreign money in our elections? But we didn't get one of those resolutions. How about a resolution calling for the end of war profiteering here in Virginia by foreign corporations that are all over this state? We didn't get one for that. How about a resolution calling for the release of the Epstein files? No, we didn't get one there. How about a resolution calling for the end of the genocide of the Palestinian people? And now it's moved into broader areas of the Middle East. We're moving towards fascism, and nobody wants to talk about it. We're moving towards a one-party system, a media that controls everything. What about a resolution about the violence that ICE is doing in our communities here in the Commonwealth? And I think, as Ms. Witt said, the way that resolution read, you interjected, and it came across as to vote no on it. And you probably didn't mean to do that, although I'm sure some of you did. So I think you need to be careful when you're doing resolutions, because you represent us. And right now, I'd sure like to see this board issue a resolution calling for the immediate release of the Epstein files so we can start getting our country back. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. If you come forward, state your name and district. You'll have 3 minutes.
I can't say that I know what my district is. I'm Elon.
Fair enough.
Okay. My name is David Schluter. I'm in the Elon district, or Elon area. I'm going to address the redistricting thing. And 6 years ago, we voted as a state, 3/4 of the people, to protect our right to have fair districts, so we would vote where, or we'd have representation from where we live and not how we vote. And now it's trying to be taken away. It's they may say it's from other states, but other states didn't protect their own rights. We did, and it shouldn't be changed just because of that. So bad actors shouldn't be our reason for removing our rights. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Sir. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Hearing, seeing none, we'll move on. Tyler, do you want to address the board? We'll move on to public hearings. This is a special exception, 2026-037 for Kevin Mays. Mr. Creasy. You have 3 minutes. Good.
Yes, sir. Chairman, board, good to see you all this evening. As you mentioned, this is a special exception in our B2 General Commercial District for an automotive repair garage located at 3362 South Amherst Highway. As you've mentioned, it comes before you by Kevin Mays for this special exception. The proposal includes a 4-bay, 3,200 square foot shop, parking for customers and storage, and proposed screening and landscaping. The comprehensive plan recommends commercial and low-density residential for the subject parcel. The commercial category, as you all know, designates areas where commercial developments have occurred and where future urban, suburban commercial developments have been encouraged. And then, of course, our low-density residential includes areas where larger lot residential development is encouraged as a transition between the county's agricultural and medium-density residential areas. There are 3 land use goals and objectives that staff threw in there for this request. The first is goal number 3 under land use is to minimize the negative environmental impacts of new and existing residential, commercial, and industrial development. Goal 5, Objective 2, states that we should work with various properties and agencies to support the redevelopment of existing or upcoming vacant structures. And underneath economic development, Goal 2 is to grow small business and encourage entrepreneurial development. As mentioned already, the zoning is B2 General Commercial, and I'd like to flip your attention to your screen so we got a better understanding of where we're at and the zoning around. So many of you will be familiar with this property. It's the old Lou's Antiques building right on 29 Business. I'll zoom out a little bit. We, of course, have a vet right down the road, and then this is the Monroe Post Office directly to the south. I think it's Woodrow, which borders this property directly to the north. This is a secondary road that comes off of Route 29, and as you can see, it serves a good number of houses down here with another auxiliary street off to the left. I'll pull down the zoning map for you all. As you can see, the parcel zone B2 General Commercial, and just as previously stated before, our commercial district is mostly centered along Route 29 Business, and it is off of this road where you start to see your residential properties and single-family dwellings. As I kind of just mentioned, this area where the proposal is located is sort of like a transition between the county's commercial and residential zoning areas. Properties adjoining the subject parcel along South Amherst Highway are Zone B2. That's, of course, the post office to the south. And then directly to the north past Woodrow is vacant commercial land here to the north. As mentioned already, as you go down Woodrow Avenue, you have R2 general residential property. Single-family dwellings are the predominant land use down this road, and they're zoned R2 general residential. The parcel directly to the west is also zoned R2 general residential and contains a single-family dwelling. Moving on to the site description, it's roughly 1.653 acres and is considered a corner lot due to Route 29 and Woodrow Avenue. And as I mentioned, it was previously the Lou's Antiques building. And with that, I'd like to just pull up the site plan or the conceptual plan that they have brought before you. So to get your bearings, as you're looking at this, directly to your right is Woodrow. And so down here to the south or the bottom of the page, this would be Route 29 Business. The structure here is the existing Lou's Antiques building. This is intended to stay for the time being as it's being used for storage. As you go up Woodrow, here would be the entrance for the proposed development. It has approximately 11 spots for the storage of vehicles waiting repair. And then they have 4 spots for customer parking. Here's the structure of the 3,200 square foot 4-bay garage that would be located here. These dark trees are Leland cypress, and they're proposed to be planted at a minimum height of 5 feet at planting. And then you have your screening. These would act as screening towards the residential areas that are directly across the road, as well as going towards 29 as well, and to the south of the property or to your left. They are also proposing street required landscaping, so that is 1 shrub every 10 feet. As you can see, this is a corner lot, so there's a lot of vegetation that will be required, as well as 1 tree every 50 feet. This is a conceptual design, and I'd like to make note, if this is approved by you all as a board, it'll have to go through site plan review process, going through our DRC and our zoning stages. There are existing trees out here, so they may be able to make use of some existing vegetation out there. So not all of these would be planted. However, the screening will definitely be planted if this proposal is approved. This was sent to VDOT, in which they indicated no major concerns with the proposal. If the petition is approved, as I mentioned, they'll have to submit a major site plan in which VDOT would be part of that review process. They would have to sign off on the site plan and, of course, receive a land use permit for an entrance off of Woodrow. The area for the parking here would, as I mentioned, be screened. So to the north, or I guess to the west, is where the storage parking is, and that is screened from residential areas as well as the public right-of-way. This petition was also sent to the county's fire marshal for review. He did not indicate any major concern, and as I mentioned, this would go before DRC, which our fire and EMS team is part of, and they would provide comment on that civil design then to ensure apparatus can enter into the site as well as make the required turning movements. Moving on to the impact, as I mentioned, this proposal is for an automotive repair garage, parking for customers, employees, and vehicles waiting for repair. Staff does have concerns regarding the intensity of the use and the proximity of residential uses. Therefore, staff has recommended 2 specific conditions relating to this concern, if it was to be approved. The first is the screening of the facility from all adjacent properties owned residential and limiting the hours of operation from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. This limitation is intended to help minimize the noise and the operational impacts on adjacent residential properties. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this request with the 9 conditions staff brought before them. I'll briefly go over a few of these. Of course, the first one is lighting to ensure that it's glare shielded and directed as to prevent illumination across property lines. Parking is to ensure the parking is on their property and nobody else's property. Outdoor storage, there shall be no outdoor storage as it relates to parts, chemicals, or tools. All materials and equipment shall be kept within an enclosed structure. Staff already mentioned the hours of operation. Number 5 would tie that site plan that I talked to you about. The applicant shall submit a major site plan in accordance with Article 11 of the Zoning and Subdivision Ordinance and receive approval from all applicable agencies. Number 6 is regarding the landscaping, indicating that screening trees shall be planted at a minimum of 5 feet in height. The concept plan currently calls for Leland cypress. Number 7 is tying this plan back to the conceptual plan to ensure that it does not shift majorly and to ensure that it's built in substantial compliance. And then the last 2 provided conditions are to ensure that fire and EMS and VDOT requirements are met. These can be found within your item packet. And at this time, do you have any questions for staff?
Forward.
Yes, Tyler. That house is being used as storage. What's the condition of that house? That house is set vacant for quite a while.
My understanding, it's in pretty bad shape. Right now, there's a contract to purchase that can be found in your packet. The current owner, Mr. Ogden, I believe, is intended to move stuff out gradually if the purchase goes through. And from my understanding, it's in poor condition. They would have the ability to renovate it or demolish however they choose see fit if they were to purchase the property.
All right, and my other question for you is, on the conceptual drawing, the entrance to this would be off Woodrow Avenue.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And I was just wondering, would there be a reason why 29 wouldn't be a better access point to
Yeah.
restrict all the traffic down Woodrow? I mean,
Right.
I don't know if that's due to safety or what have you. I know there's a turning lane there, a median.
That's a great question. So I'm no engineer, of course, but I will speak to access management a little bit. I'll flip back to the GIS. But before I do that, one reason I would say is if you're familiar with this property, it kind of slopes towards Route 29, and you have the existing building there, and of course, this structure is set back off of 29. So from a cost perspective, if I was the applicant, I would say that one reason is just due to the location of the building that is on the parcel. The entrance is closer back there instead of creating some grand entrance up the hill to the back of the parcel. Now, if I was an engineer, I would also say that putting in an entrance along this where you already have a secondary road as well as 2 entrances here for the post office, I'm not sure of the requirements that would have to be met, but I believe they're going to be a little more difficult to get past to receive VDOT approval than what they have proposed here today.
All right, and just a question, is that on the back of the property, is that a house right there? Like, to the left, right there?
Yes, sir, that is a dwelling. Yes, sir.
All right, and the proposed site would be near where the tractor trailers,
Yes, sir.
All right.
Anyone else? Mr. Campbell?
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Creasy, can we go back to that drawing of the building with yes, that one. I've never been a big fan of the landscaping requirements for these new buildings that go up. And I believe 14 years ago, the sheriff, I don't remember what we were discussing, but he sort of advised us a lot of these shrubs, you know, because people can hide behind them. You know, it's not a good thing, you know, to cut some of your shrubs up high and so you can have visual underneath of them. But besides that, I'm looking at the intersection right there. I mean, some of those trees, would that sort of be a problem when you're looking down the road?
Yes, sir, that's a great point. And so that would kind of tie back to that site plan requirement. As I mentioned, not all of these will be planted. And of course, so VDOT's going to look at this, and one thing that they do look at for us is our landscaping to ensure that site distance is not impacted. So there's a good chance that, yes, there will be shrubs planted at that intersection, but the trees are going to have to be offset by X amount of feet by whatever the VDOT manual calls for.
Okay. Another thing I noticed in the recommendations, it says that no vehicle waiting for repair shall stay at the lot longer than 10 consecutive business days. However, I don't really see days of operation. I mean, is that going to be 7 days a week? Is it going to be a 5-day-a-week operation?
I'm not entirely sure of his days of operation. I believe the applicant may be able to speak to that. I'm not sure of his days, so, no, sir.
And also, it was, I'm looking at the parking, I think there was 15 spaces, 11 for storage and 4 for customers. I mean, I hope he has great business, you know, if he were to get approved. But is 4 gonna be enough? Is that gonna be adequate?
Per our ordinance, it is based off the size of the shop he has. So, and of course, if he was to gain more employees, he may need to reduce the number of parking spots for storage. And then again, if he ever does super well, which we hope he does, and if he's approved for, his special exception is allowed to expand up to 25% of what you're seeing before you today, so we could take parking into consideration there. Anything over that, he would have to come back before you for approval, so that option is always there if he does succeed in his operation.
And the 11 for storage, that would be vehicles waiting to get worked on,
Yes, sir.
not like junk part vehicles?
Correct. Waiting for storage. Yes, sir.
So if he did have junk part vehicles, they would have to, by this, be stored inside.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Creasy. Would the petitioner like to address the board? Yes.
Thank you for your time this evening. I certainly do appreciate it. As a proud mother of the young man who's petitioning this, I love that it's called a special exception because he is a very special young man. 2021 valedictorian of Temple Christian School, local boy, 4th generation entrepreneur that wants to start this endeavor in the community. To answer your question about the storage vehicles, they do have to be there because unfortunately in this climate that we're in right now, getting parts seems to be quite the challenge. But to your point, no junk vehicles. These are simply waiting on something to complete the project for the repairs. This is not going to be a high volume traffic business. This is not a Jiffy Lube or a Meineke brake institution. This is going to be more your higher end vehicles with the computer technology that this young man knows more about than I can speak to, but also engines, transmissions, that sort of things, your larger projects. So not a huge traffic there. That's why there wasn't a need for a lot of customer parking, because it's basically just going to be pickoffs and drop-offs and settling your bill and that kind of thing. The intent of the business is to grow. We hope it will grow in the community. As he grows the business, we can expand, and the intent of the Lou's Antiques building, we don't know. It currently looks like something you would see on one of those hoarder episodes inside, and so we really can't even walk around in it to assess the quality of the structure. My husband's a contractor. He has been a contractor in Amherst County for 50 years. So we're going to go in and assess it at that time, and if it's worth salvaging, we certainly would want to fix it up and possibly do a retail rental space there or something to that effect if that's possible. If not, then we would just level the building and update the landscaping accordingly. But that would be a project for later on down the road. We are looking at a facility that's going to be a very nice metal building. We are currently negotiating the look of the building because I want something that's going to be very nice, very pretty for the community. But also my son wants something that is climate controlled, something that's self-contained because he's going to be working all year round. And to answer your question about the days of operation, Monday through Friday. Weekends would not typically, unless he has something special going on, but the intention is to have a Monday through Friday business. Typically, he's a 9 to 5 kind of guy. But we set the hours of operation 7:30 to 7:30 because busy seasons happen, and there may be a little bit more demand for his time during those times. I think that's about it. Any other questions for us as far as the intent of the project?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
a couple more. Will there be any business vehicles like towing trucks?
You mean coming in and out or staying
Obviously
there?
coming in and out, but
Yes.
will you have vehicles of your own?
No, we're not going to have a towing business. No, sir. No,
And
sir.
far as state inspection, I'm guessing not at
That is something we would like to consider later on down the road, but it's something he's not interested in at this
I
time.
know that's where you're going to get a lot of your high volume traffic.
Yeah, we've looked into the state inspection piece of the business, and that would complement the business certainly. But unfortunately, the criteria to get all of that is something we would look at later on down the road. We want to get this initial project off the ground first, and then he could potentially get his licensure for that and have that available as an additional layer of service for the customers that come in there.
Thank you.
So, yes, sir.
Board, anyone else? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Leave me none to say.
Thank you
there-
for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anyone else that would like to, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of the petition? If you'd state your name, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Calvin Kennan. I live in District 3, and our family business is in District 5. I do serve on the EDA Board for Amherst County and the Route 29 Business Beautification Committee. I'm in favor of this project, and this would definitely be an economic win. You would get a valuable business that serves the community, and you also, as your goal 2 states, grow small business and encourage entrepreneur development. I think this is the template for that. You've got a young man who's grown up in the county, who wants to stay in the county and serve the county. I think that's exactly what we should be shooting for. It will bring in local tax revenue. I know you spent many hours talking taxes a minute ago, so a little more revenue wouldn't hurt. This type of project is not really easy to develop in Amherst County. Automotive uses are all special exceptions. They're not really something you could put anywhere off of the main thoroughfares. So generally, the properties are more expensive there. So you've got the high development cost along with the high property cost. The Planning Commission talked to this family about it. They were very business friendly, and that was refreshing. 23 years ago, our family went through a similar thing, and it was not as business friendly. I'll put it that way. For the development side, this size building is really ideal. There's a lot of businesses that could use this size building. So this is something that I'm sure is going to be great for this business, but it is an investment in the community. A new building in this area of the corridor, I mean, if you look what's going on around it, My Fitness, Superior Metals, the former PyroCool building, I mean, it's all right there within a couple of miles of this building. This area is really, really growing. And I do want to speak to the developer, Kevin. Kevin is a person that I've actually worked with for actually many years. He's a man of integrity. And when he agrees to whatever proffers you all have, that's what's going to happen. I can tell you that. Cody is a young man. He's a little quiet, but he's got a passion for cars. So if you talk cars, you're going to get a lot of information. And this is his dream. His parents' dream is to help their son. His dream is to own a business in Amherst County, and I ask that you all please approve this. Thank you.
Thank you, Cal.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? If you please state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening from, nope, I was going to do my video intro. Sabrina Kinnan. Going to do my video intro. Live in District 3, run a family business in District 5, and I chair a nonprofit in District 2 that represents our business community. I'm asking for your approval of this project, and I spoke to the Planning Commission to this as well. I want to make sure that as a community, our business-friendly initiative is offered in the most way that it can, just like we do outside developers, that we support developers from within. So we've got some generations here who want to stay in the county, and how many times we've talked about keeping our youth here, and here's a prime example, wants to be here, use the property here, use the buildings that are here. So I'd like your consideration, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? If you'd state your name and if...
Marshall Terry, District 5. I've known Cody for some time. He's a very intelligent young man. He impressed me the first day I met him, and he still impresses me every time I have a conversation with him. And I'm asking you tonight to be sincere about bringing new business into this county and keeping our young people in the county. So now's the time for you to let this young man shine and show you what you can do in this county. Thank you.
Sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition?
One more in favor.
No. Yes, ma'am. You'd state your name and...
Good evening, Sarah Nichols, District 2. I'll just reiterate what's already been said. I really appreciate Cody wanting to keep his talents here and serve our community, and I would love to see our community support him. And without a doubt, that property will look much better when it's done, when he's up and running, than it has for a long time. So appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? All right, hearing and seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Board, what's your pleasure? Well, I have a couple questions for staff. So that's essentially a residential street, Woodrow is. And do we typically have any concern using residential streets for commercial purposes?
Regarding like traffic and things of that nature? Yes, sir.
Traffic, yeah.
Yes, sir. Of course, it would have to be sent to VDOT. I'm not sure of how the pavement is constructed out there. I would assume it would suffice for this use, but that would be something that they would have to take into consideration during site plan review. And as I mentioned already, due to the intensity of the use, staff is concerned with houses across the street as well as to the west of the property.
Okay. So the house, I guess, directly planned north of this, did they have any concerns?
Staff did not hear from anybody, no, sir.
Okay, or across the street either? And there was a sign posted?
Yes, sir.
And, all right, so the landscaping, that's what's required by ordinance, which, okay, a good ordinance. In terms of blocking any site distance, if you look at the site plan, you see where the throat of Woodrow comes out to 29 is well past any of the landscaping, correct? Okay. And maybe somebody's going to hide behind a tree, but I really don't think that's going to happen. All right, okay. Maybe a deer will hide behind the tree, sure. Okay. What concerns me is encroachment of the commercial use into the residential area that far back into Woodrow. That neighborhood's been there quite a while. I'm surprised that no one came and spoke in opposition to it. What also concerns me is we haven't had a very good track record with these garages. The one on 210 that has moved out now. They were supposed to do a lot of things, made a lot of promises, and I know that's not you. But typically, these types of uses tend to become very cluttered in terms of the number of vehicles there, fluids, all that type of thing. And then if we remember, we just had another special use permit that we considered revoking, and once you grant it, it's done. So you're not going to be able to take it back. So, and that's fine. Maybe the board does want to do that. So that's my thoughts. I see this going another way, and that's fine. I really hope the young gentleman does well. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment, not a motion, a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, everybody spoke here in favor of this young man and his family. I mean, that's the voice of our community. And we're saying that we want young people to stay here and do well, and we want family support. We got it all right there. And I am so daggone proud of them, and I don't even know them, but I look forward to getting to know them. So I'll make a motion. No, Mr. Pugh, this is in your district, isn't it?
Actually, I think it's in District.
Woodrow is actually the line.
Yeah,
I thought
Woodrow
that-
is the
Yeah,
line.
anything north of that is mine.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I do have concerns, like Tom, I do have concerns with having the access off of Woodrow onto that property because of the residential area that's behind it. I mean, that's a valid concern, but, I mean, I know that our applicant and his family come from, you know, good people, and that they're gonna do what they say they're gonna do. And so I have faith in that. And so what I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll make the motion to approve special exception 2026-037 with the so noted conditions.
Okay, is there any other discussion? I will just say, before I get skewered on Facebook, I wish you the entire best, I do. And I hope you're very successful. Land use decisions matter, and I've been doing this for 32 years, way too long. And I've seen good ones and I've seen bad ones, but I really wish you the most success that can possibly be. And I'm proud of you starting a business too, okay? So it has nothing to do with you personally. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote nay. Good luck with your project. All right, moving on, Mr. Creasy. Special exception, William Maddox.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Board, as you just mentioned, this is another special exception. This is for a short-term tourist rental of a dwelling located at 4820 Elon Road. The subject parcel is zoned A1 Agriculture Limited, and the comprehensive plan indicates it as such as well. Staff is not going to go into what that district calls for. However, we will make mention of one land use goal and objective, which is to promote the expansion of short-term tourist rentals in appropriate locations in Amherst County. As I mentioned already, the property is zoned A1 agricultural residential. Code section 702.03.11 indicates this use that are either not served by a state maintained road or within 500 feet of another dwelling as a special exception in the A1 district. So that's why this is being brought before you today, is because it's within 500 feet of another dwelling. So I'll zoom out so we can get our bearings and where we're at. First, I'll pull up the zoning here. So of course our green is our A1 land. I'll zoom out so we got a better idea. You got the village district all the way down here for Elon. So we're kind of ways up Route 130, I would say, for this parcel. And then, of course, you do have single-family dwellings that align Route 130 through here. There's approximately 3. You do have one other parcel directly to the west, and the property surrounding this is actually owned by the applicant, as you can see when we click on GIS, Mr. Maddox. He owns the property surrounding it. This was sent to VDOT and to Emergency Services, in which they indicated no concerns with the petition. And as I mentioned, it would allow for a short-term tourist rental of a dwelling. The traffic impact should be similar to a single-family dwelling. The petitioners informed the commission at the last meeting that this has previously been used as a rental. Of course, it's along the same lines, but it would be now short-term, so a period of less than 30 days. So that's why they're coming before you here tonight. Staff recommended 5 conditions, which are boilerplate in nature. Those would be recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. They involve lighting, sewage facilities for VDH, parking, ensure all parking is on that parcel, that all requirements set forth by fire and EMS are met, and that requirements of Section 916, which govern short-term tourist rentals, is met. And at this time, do you have any questions for staff?
Board?
I do not.
I just have a question. I mean, I'm pretty familiar. That's Valley Hudson Road right up there on the left?
Yes.
All right.
Is that it? Okay. Is the petitioner here?
Yeah.
You like to make comments to the board? Hello.
If I could.
I get it.
For the cottage at Maple Creek we hope to create. So we have a lot of property upgrade plans. So we'd like to turn this existing dwelling into a cozy cottage and include a sizable front porch swings, a privacy hedge, which is needed because the front yard is just wide open to 130, and plant flowering shrubs all around the cottage. We plan to paint inside and outside entirely and do a lot of upgrades in the house, especially the kitchen. We'll add a fire pit and seating in the backyard and allow walking access to Maple Creek, which is so pretty on the back of the property. We will manage the property entirely and maintain all of it. We'll do all the bookings and financial details through a short-term rental platform, probably Airbnb, maybe Vrbo. We plan to meticulously maintain this property inside and out and keep it pristine so that we create, we create a pristine little country cottage sanctuary that people will want to come back to. We'll follow all the safety and compliance regulations by shielding outdoor lighting, working smoke detectors, fire extinguisher, and clear view in the kitchen, post property boundaries, maintain a limit of 6 guests per night on the property. And there's plenty of parking, so there will be no parking on the street, and all the other rules involved. I don't think I have them all listed. The positive impact for the community will be that it will boost local economy through increased tourism and spending at nearby businesses, and there's not a lot out there, but hopefully it'll be helpful. It'll increase tax revenue, and the property improvement will be aesthetically pleasing, I promise, to the surrounding area, and we truly hope that guests will appreciate the beauty of Amherst County and return for more. So that's our grand plan, if you guys will approve this.
Thank you so much. Board, is there any questions for the petitioner?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I noticed you had limit of 6 guests. That wasn't one of the recommendations. You
Well, it really is a 4-bedroom home, but I understand that the septic system is set for a 3-bedroom, so I think we are limited to 6 guests per night, if I understand correctly.
Okay. Any other questions? I thought you said sick guests.
Oh, well, hopefully not. Sorry, hopefully
All right.
not.
Is there, thank you so much. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor?
I have actually come to meet these folks as we've been going through this journey at the same times, at the same places, it seems. And I personally love VRBO and Airbnb when I travel with my family to go see folks in Montana and Texas and Florida and all the places that I've gone. And I would love to see something like this in Amherst County. So when they come see me, there's options other than staying at my house.
Gotcha.
Just throwing that out there.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor?
I want to speak in favor of this project, and it is helpful for the businesses to have more places for people to stay should they need their employee to come in and work for a short while. It also does help the economic activity, especially around Sweetbriar graduation, where You know, a lot of people have to stay maybe over in Lynchburg or something like that, so they can stay here in the county, and it kind of fills in some of the gaps of our current lodging situation. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Mr. Kennon for the record, correct? Okay, y'all got that? That's right. And here comes Mrs. Kennon. You'd state your name and
Sabrina Kennon. I live in District 3, a family business in District 5, and I represent a nonprofit in District 2. I'm one of Amherst's biggest cheerleaders, especially the business community. So anytime we have someone here who wants to invest in Amherst County, who are presenting facts and willing to accept conditions, then I'm in favor, and I'd like to ask your same opinion. So I thank you for your time.
thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? If not, the public hearing is closed. Board, what's your pleasure? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, this is in my district, and I think as a side note, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been in your family for some time, so I'm sure it's sentimental to you, very much so. So I know everything that they're saying, they'll back up 110%. So with that being said, I'll move that we approve special exception 2026-038.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I vote aye. Congratulations. Okay, Chief Beam.
Hello, Board, once again.
Well,
Good
hold
to
up.
see-
Let me tell you what you're going to talk to us
Oh,
about.
yes, sir, I'd love to.
You're talking to us about the 3 units of safety, units of safety program.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Board. Hopefully, this is the simplest thing you'll have tonight. This is the name change from GRIFE to PCA, as required for them to be an emergency response agency within Amherst County, where they have their own EMS agency license. They're all excited about the PCA change. Just kidding. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I just appreciate you bringing some humor to this.
All right, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of the name change? Is there anyone like to speak in opposition of the name change? Okay, Board, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2026-3 as presented.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I vote aye. Congratulations with your name change, Chief Bean. All right, we are moving on to the consent agenda. Board, is there a motion? Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Pugh. Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Ms. Tucker? Voting. You're gonna vote?
Is it aye?
No, I didn't.
I whispered.
Okay. So that
Aye,
was
sorry. 5
ayes. All right, very good. All right, consent agenda is adopted. Special presentation on Horizon Behavioral Health, the annual report. Melissa Lucy. It's that time of year again, huh?
It is,
Oh,
yes.
goodness.
And I'm going to try to make it very quick since you guys are already behind time. So I will do my best. First of all, thank you for having me here this evening. It's an honor to talk to you about Horizon Behavioral Health and tell you all the wonderful things we're doing. Our mission at Horizon Behavioral Health is to support and promote the health independence and self-worth of individuals and families in Central Virginia. We achieve this by offering a comprehensive continuum of community-based services. This includes treatment, prevention, early intervention, and aftercare for those facing mental health challenges, intellectual disabilities, substance use, and co-occurring disorders. We aim to provide behavioral health care services that are not only accessible, but also centered around the consumer. We strive for cost effectiveness, and importantly, our services are outcome-based. This means we are committed to making a measurable difference in the lives of those we serve. Horizon offers a wide range of services that we like to call a continuum of care designed to cater to the various needs of our community, from case management and emergency housing to psychiatric services and school-based programs. Each service plays a crucial role in ensuring that our community members receive comprehensive care. We are proud to have a dedicated board of directors made up of 10 members who represent 5 localities in Central Virginia. These individuals ensure that our services align closely with the needs of our diverse communities. As we celebrated 56 years of service this past April, it's a testament to our commitment and adaptability in providing quality care. New to Horizon is the in-depth tobacco cessation education program offered in public schools to students. The program folds tobacco cessation education into a new program that was launched to serve adolescents with substance use treatment. Still early in implementation, this program is boasting engagement rates that exceed the state average. Horizon programs impact hospital readmissions both directly and indirectly. Programs that provide direct impact are designed to provide immediate personalized care and support. For instance, Assertive Community Treatment offers intense community-based care for individuals with severe mental illnesses. Crisis stabilization and emergency services provide immediate assistance during mental health crises, helping to prevent unnecessary hospital admissions. Additionally, Horizon's on-site pharmacies and Lynchburg Co-Responder Program offer accessible medications in collaboration with local law enforcement. Programs with an indirect impact are essential to sustaining recovery, long-term, and preventing relapse. Case management and medication management ensure continuous coordinated care, key to preventing readmission by addressing ongoing needs, on-site, same-day assessments, facility timely interventions that can preempt hospitalization. These are heartfelt testimonials from clients who shared their experience with the admission process and staff. They highlight the compassion and empowering nature of our teams. It's not just about administering care, it's about building trust and truly listening to our clients' needs. Governor Glenn Youngkin's 3-year comprehensive plan, Right Help Right Now, is concluding its 3rd and final year of transforming Virginia's behavioral health system with its 6-pillared approach to address behavioral health challenges and strengthen services across the Commonwealth. The Right Help Right Now model has bolstered investment in Virginia's behavioral health system, supporting community services boards like Horizon and individuals in communities like Amherst County. We're addressing the mental health crisis and opioid epidemic by expanding evidence-based treatment, strengthening the workforce, prioritizing prevention, and leveraging resources for lasting impact in Central Virginia and again in Amherst County. As the initiative approaches its conclusion this year, Horizon remains focused on delivering comprehensive, sustainable behavioral health care to ensure every Virginian has access to the right help at the right time. On this slide, I'd like to highlight a few examples of some of our newest evidence-based grant-supported programs and initiatives that I think do a great job of demonstrating the shift we are seeing to community-based care as the premier method of service provision, as supported by the Governor's Right Help Right Now model. Lynchburg Behavioral Health Docket is designed for individuals with serious mental illness who are involved in the legal system to provide wraparound treatment for mental illness, promote recovery, avoid further legal involvement, and lead healthy and productive lives in their community. Horizon Behavioral Health's Treatment and Recovery Enhancement and Expansion, also known as the TREE program, for adolescents, transitional aged youth, and their families, partners with local public school systems to offer expanded treatment options for substance use disorders and/or co-occurring disorders to benefit adolescents and transitional aged youth in Central Virginia. The program has client engagement achievements that exceed the national averages. On this page, this is a quote from an individual that we serve, and as I always do, I want to point out that anytime I put a quote in here from an individual we serve, we always get a release and I have permission to share. I don't read it to you because, again, in the interest of time, I'm going to try to move on, but if you have questions as you read it, please let me know. Project Link is a program designed to care for pregnant or postpartum women who are diagnosed with a substance use disorder. We contact every individual that tests positive for substance use at birth, which is reported to us by Virginia Baptist Hospital. We served 62 individuals last year. This initiative provided wraparound services featuring evidence-based groups like Healing Trauma and Nurturing Parenting. These programs are crucial for addressing challenges like lack of childcare, transportation, and family support. And that number may not seem like a lot to you, but when you're talking about a newborn, I assure you it is. The GIBI program provides outreach and engagement, screening and same-day assessment, treatment, case management, peer recovery support, and location of permanent housing, among other specialty services. To be eligible for this program, an adolescent must, 1, have a mental health diagnosis, substance use disorder, or co-occurring disorder. Must, 2, be homeless or at risk of becoming homeless, and 3, reside in the counties of Amherst, Appomattox, Bedford, Campbell, or the city of Lynchburg. We served 96 individual students this past year at Sweetbriar College. This is a special initiative and a special program that we have developed specifically for Amherst County and for Sweetbriar College. 79 students utilized our daily walk-in clinic for the year. And GABI stands for Grant to Benefit Homeless Individuals, just in case no one knew. Michelle is a client of Horizon's Project Link program who has found tremendous confidence and strength in her recovery journey with help from her team at Horizon Behavioral Health. This fiscal year, Horizon launched its first podcast series, The Recovery Journey. Its success has translated into an ongoing initiative, the Horizon Line, to promote storytelling and education within our organization and the broader community. In one podcast episode, Michelle bravely shared her personal journey with listeners in hope that her experience might help other expecting or new mothers who may be struggling with addiction. This is something that's unique to Horizon Behavioral Health, so I want to point that out. No other CSB in the state of Virginia is doing it, and to my knowledge, no one else in surrounding states are either. And one other thing I will say about that is we actually just got an exemplary for it. So we actually have a podcast room that's actually on site that we developed and designed. We also let community stakeholders use it. We do special sessions with people like yourselves who want to come in and do an interview and get the word out about something that's related to behavioral health care or some initiative that you're doing in the communities. So if you all have something you'd like to share, please let us know. We'd be happy to feature you. Horizon's Prevention Services works to prevent substance misuse and suicide to promote healthy behaviors, mental wellness, and resiliency in Central Virginia. And on this slide, these are some additional stats I wanted to highlight. On World Mental Health Day, Horizon and the Amherst Caring Coalition celebrated their ongoing partnership with local agencies to create wellness spaces and promote trauma-informed practices across Amherst County, including the recent opening of a new wellness room at the Amherst County Sheriff's Office. Funded through a $10,000 trauma-informed care grant from the Virginia Department of Social Services Office of Trauma and Resiliency, the Amherst Caring Coalition has used these funds to create calming wellness spaces throughout the community. These rooms provide safe, supportive environments where employees and residents can relax, regulate, and recharge in the face of a daily stressor. The initiative has led to the creation of wellness rooms at the Amherst County Courthouse, the Amherst Department of Social Services, the Amherst County Fire and EMS buildings, and the Amherst County Sheriff's Department. The coalition also features supplies for BEST labs, also known as Behavioral Education Support Transition Labs, in 5 Amherst County public schools, providing students and staff with tools for emotional regulation and behavioral support. The current BEST lab locations include Manellison Middle School, Madison Heights Elementary School, Amelon Elementary, Central Elementary, and Amherst Educational Center. The big takeaway here is that uninsured clients in your catchment area receiving life-saving care for a fraction of what it costs to provide that service. With your contribution, the average uninsured client receives a combination of one or more services, such as case management services at the rate of $367 a month, and outpatient therapy at the average rate of $238 a month for a fraction of the price at $115 per month. So that's a total of $606 worth of services for $115. Now, what I really want to tell y'all about, the Crisis Care Center. So today,
I just want to say that I should have said it earlier. Look, we've been here a long time, but this is very important. So you take your time because the work you do is tremendous. So take your time and don't feel like you got to rush through this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Fair enough? Good.
So,
I'll sit here all
so I can
night.
slow down now? Is that what you're
Yes,
telling me? I don't
ma'am.
need to talk so fast anymore?
Deep breath.
Okay. Today, I'd like to focus on the critical development for Central Virginia, our new Crisis Care Center. This initiative represents a collaborative response to the ongoing mental health crisis in our community. Our Crisis Care Center is designed to address the urgent need for mental health support and is a testament to what we can achieve when diverse community stakeholders come together. I do want to point out this was a $15.2 million project. I point that out because I was told by many when I took this job I would not get that here and it would not happen. And here we are today, and we're getting ready to open our doors this year. So that's a testament, again, to what we can all do when we come together. Central Virginia, like many areas, is grappling with a shortage of psychiatric beds and an increase in behavioral health emergencies. As a result, emergency departments and law enforcement are stretched thin, often becoming the default response to mental health crises. To address this urgent need, Horizon's Crisis Care Center will be a groundbreaking facility. It's set to be the first crisis receiving and stabilization services unit in Central Virginia. We are diligently working towards opening our doors to the public this year and will provide crucial services to residents from Lynchburg, Amherst, Appomattox, Bedford, and Campbell County. The Crisis Care Center will be guided by a trauma-informed care model, offering care with safety and dignity and person-centered support at the core. We are committed to offering an alternative to hospitalization or incarceration, which can often exacerbate stress, trauma. By doing so, we improve health and safety outcomes for those in crisis. Our goals are to avoid unnecessary hospitalizations by stabilizing individuals locally whenever and wherever it is safe and feasible. Second, we seek to divert individuals from overcrowded emergency rooms to our center, where they have better access to specialized care and support. Lastly, we support recovery in the least restrictive setting, ensuring individuals remain close to their natural supports, networks, and local services. Our mission is to deliver compassionate, trauma-informed crisis care. This not only supports individual recovery and reduces harm, but also strengthens our community's coordinated response system. Together, we're building a safer, more supported environment for everyone. The scope of services offered at Horizon's Crisis Care Center is designed to provide comprehensive support through services of varied acuity. First, we have the walk-in mental health evaluation available 24/7. This service is crucial for immediate assessment, whether it's for walk-in clients or those under emergency custody orders. Our goal here is to evaluate risk and determine the best care level, possibly guiding individuals to a higher acuity program on site that meets their needs. Next, we offer residential crisis stabilization. This service is essential for those with acute or complex needs, providing 3 to 7 days of stabilization. It's a pivotal step-down option for individuals post-hospital discharge, ensuring they continue to recover with the support of a multidisciplinary team. This team is dedicated to planning treatment, offering crisis counseling, medication support, and peer recovery services. Finally, there's a 23-hour crisis stabilization program, which is voluntary and provides intensive short-term support. In this program, adults in crisis can receive up to 23 hours of care, including assessment, care coordination, and crisis intervention, all aimed at restoring skills and offering peer support. Medical detoxification provides around-the-clock care for individuals withdrawing from substances. This safe, supportive environment includes medical supervision and nursing assessments, ensuring clients manage withdrawal symptoms safely. We aim to kickstart the recovery process and prepare individuals for ongoing treatment. Next, we have kitchen and dining services, operating full-service kitchens 7 days a week. We ensure that all clients across various programs are well-nourished, which is vital, especially considering some clients may come to us not having eaten a meal in days. Lastly, Allied Supportive Services offer comprehensive support to all clients. This includes peer recovery support, embedded crisis intervention trained officers, and an array of other services like nursing, psychological evaluation, and care coordination, to name a few. Each of these services plays a vital role in ensuring individuals receive the care they need in times of crisis, supporting them towards recovery and community reintegration. This powerful statement from Commissioner Nelson Smith highlights how our work here in Central Virginia is shaping the future behavioral health care system across the state. As we move forward, it's essential to recognize that mental health challenges are at the forefront of community safety and wellness. This truth underlines the importance of the services and support systems we have discussed and highlights why we are determined to provide needed services to individuals in desperate need. This is the address of the Amherst Wellness Center, and I want to point out that Horizon has 9 wellness centers in our catchment area, 8 ICFs, for a total of 17 facilities to serve our community. I point that out because a lot of people don't realize how large we are. We also have 653 employees right now and growing. Yes. And our numbers, as you saw in the stats, have grown exponentially. So I will tell you, when I first took this position, we had about 8,000 clients. We now have almost 13,000, as you saw on the slide.
Who's your health insurance through?
Who is?
Board, do you have any questions for Ms. Lucy? So you said you have like 24/7 walk-in?
We do, yes. At the
That at-
Crisis Care Center. We
Over
will.
in Lynchburg?
Yes, we have it now, but now it's through the ER. So it's
Okay.
not quite the same. So at Fenwick Drive, which is where the new Crisis Care Center will be, we will have 24/7 walk-ins there. So they won't have to go through the ER. They can come in, they can meet with someone. We can assess what their needs are. If we find that they need an inpatient, then we can do the labs there versus sending them to the ER now in this new state-of-the-art facility, and we can triage them from station to station. If we find that they just needed someone to talk to, then we can talk to them, figure out what they need, give them community referrals, and either keep them there for the 23 hours and then refer them out, link them to someone in the community to make sure they're obviously safely triaged out, or send them home. It'll really just depend on what the client needs.
So with that being said, the 23-hour thing that's where they wouldn't be transitioned from an ECO to a TDO, correct?
Not necessarily. They could. I mean, it'll just depend. So somebody could walk in the 23-hour, and things could change. So I will tell you, I've been doing crisis for 28 years. And some people come in, and they come in with their bags packed, and they're ready to go. And then an hour into it, 30 minutes into it, they decide, no, I don't need the help. I changed my mind. I no longer want to be here. And so in that instance, if they're a danger to themselves, a danger to others, at risk of harm in some capacity, then we would have to do an ECO if we couldn't get them to agree to stay.
Well, I got to ditto what Mr. Martin said a minute ago. I can't express how important this is, and for the community to understand it. And in my previous life, and one of my co-workers here, he and my peer, we used to work together as EMS supervisors, and how we almost begged for this resource because in Lynchburg, how we were getting inundated with these patient populations and how it was inundating the ER. So I'm excited to see it. I'm glad to hear that it's going to take some of the pressure off our ER, which hopefully is going to improve patient care as well. So obviously you have our support, and I commend you for what you've accomplished. This is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you. We've accomplished it. I do want to point that out. It's been a community effort. All the sheriffs and, law enforcement throughout our catchment area has been right there with us and supporting us. You saw the picture. I wanted to make that point out. Those of you who were not able to come to the ribbon cutting, if you would like to see it, we're hoping to get our doors open in May. So we've already applied for our license. So once our license go through, from a clinical standpoint, we can get our doors open. And I'm working on, can I do that a little sooner, even if I don't have the license just yet. And so, because the license for us, so we need the license from behavioral health before I can open, but then we also have to get our staff credentialed. So that's a little bit longer, and I may be able to open before we get our staff credentialed, and that's what we're pushing for. Obviously, I can't open until we're licensed, but the credentialing piece I can. And so we're hoping to open by May. To finish what I was going to say earlier is if you haven't been, I encourage you to come. I'd be happy to give you a private tour and let you see it before our doors open in May.
Thank you.
Well, I ask you this every year, and you kind of look at me like I'm crazy. What else can we do to help you?
I'm good right now. One day you're going to ask me that, though, and I'm going to say, this is what you can do to help me. Yes.
I would say, come back next budget season.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Y'all have a
what
good
you
evening.
do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to new business, which is the Towing and Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, did we skip something?
Don't believe so. What do you think I missed?
Appropriation, revenue?
That was
on the
on the
consent
consent agenda.
That was on the consent.
Yes, sir.
Well, you said I didn't vote, but I checked out.
Just had a separate board action on it, so.
Huh?
Nothing.
It was all on a consent agenda.
Gotcha.
You good?
I'm good.
All right.
Let's move on.
Yes, sir. All right, new business, towing advisory board, Sheriff Ayers.
Thank you, Board. I know it's been a long evening. I'll try to be as brief as I can. For many years, as far back as I can think, the county has been utilized a record tow list. And basically how that was put together is records in the Central Virginia area that expressed an interest to be on the tow list would fill out an application. A designated individual in the sheriff's office right now, it's Clay Thompson, would go and meet with the individuals, make sure they had all the insurance and everything that DCJS requires for a tow company to have, that they met the criteria. Recently, over the last several months, we've had a couple tow companies here that have towed vehicles for individuals in the community, and the prices that have been charged have been somewhat out of line. And when it was brought to my attention, one of them was by one of the real estate insurance agents in the county, reached out to one of the deputies after they had gotten a bill from a particular tow company, and it was astronomical. And they'd even charged, it was a little over $100 to meet the citizen out at their tow yard and open the gates so they could get the personal property out of the vehicle. They charged them, I believe it was $120 to do that. So we have not been able to control the rates or anything with this type system. So recently we had an individual, and I have just been, when they would be totally out of kilter, and I felt that they had taken advantage of a citizen, whether it was somebody who lived in the county or utilized a service, because the deputies, most folks will say, well, call whoever's on the rotation, and that's what the deputies say. Amherst, send me the next wrecker on the rotation. They would come, and then these people would get these astronomical bills. Well, they come to us, the sheriff's office. What did you call somebody that charged us this kind of money to tow our vehicle? Recently, we had a young man that felt that he had been taken advantage of, to the point we've dealt with him several times on FOIA requests, coming in, FOIA and our policies, everything on the tow list. The staff has had to work with this gentleman trying to provide this documentation. So I met with Mr. Popovich after I had gotten a letter from the attorney of one of the folks that had been on the list. And I said, you know, how do you deal with this? So he did a little research and came up with the county, you know, a tow board would be an option. I'm standing before you all today to ask for this. I'm not in the tow business, don't want to be in the tow business, don't want to have anything to do with the tow business. And I think we've reached a point now to have a committee set up as a tow board that deals with all this, sets the rates, does whatever needs to be done per the Code of Virginia. And we have nothing to do with who is on the tow list, who is not on the tow list, and rates. So, board, that's what I'm asking you all. I don't want to have to deal with this. This is not in my bailiwick of what I'm here to serve the public safety of the citizens, not deal with disgruntled tow companies.
So, Sheriff, a couple questions. I understand the need. So basically, this board would kind of set what the acceptable fee is for a tow in the county. Now, that being said, this is a big county, so I'm guessing there are going to have to be different fees based on mileage and probably recovery options, right? That would all need to be discussed. But when you say you're not, who sets the rotation now?
The rotation, basically, when a person comes, say you were to apply, met the criteria, you were ready to go, they'd put you at the bottom of the rotation. And when a deputy calls in for a rotation, it just, dispatcher, they have it set up in the system, and it just rotates.
Okay, so are you saying that's going to be done away with?
Whatever the tow board, how it's set up, Mr. Martin, I don't know how it would be. That's the way it's been done for many years.
Okay.
And, you know, it had gotten so that some of the tow companies were complaining that, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, it was an abandoned vehicle. The dispatcher would go 3 or 4, well, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that. And they would turn it down and then, you know, come back around. And when it was a crash or something that, you know, they were sure to get, you know, money out of it, they would accept it. So and they complain, the tow companies will complain about that. So I just feel we've reached a point that there will be a tow board that deals with those issues.
So how would the state police rotation work? Because they have their own, correct?
They have their own rotation, Mr. Martin, how they would do with it, whether they joined in on whatever you all, that would be up to them. We don't have anything to do with how they do their rotation at all.
Only thing I'll say is I wish the tow truck would get toned with the fire department, because we wait forever, because they don't call you until the last minute. It's not y'all's fault. But anyway, so board, is there any questions for Sheriff Ayers?
I have one question. Now, this is an advisory board. It's going to recommend terms and conditions and fee schedules. Would this also be like a committee to oversee in the future to make sure that these things stay in line with other companies? And
Mr. Campbell, that would be my understanding. I've never had any dealings with a tow board, don't know, but it is my understanding they set the criteria for any tow companies that are on the tow list, and whether it be a yearly basis that the individuals have to show proof of insurance and that they are meeting all the criteria that's set forth through DCGS, they would be the requirements this body that you all empowered to do this, to make sure they met all criteria and that the citizens were charged fair rates for the services given them. And I totally understand there would have to be a scale of rates based on times they come out, size of records needed, all of that, and this board would take care of that.
Well, I'm not against this, but my question is if we put in place a tow advisory board, right, and say, okay, I'm assuming it's going to all be tow companies on it, and then we're saying,
it's gotta include certain categories, so.
Okay, so
representative from law enforcement, representative from towing companies, and
so they
representative
couldn't
from
go out
pol-
and just create a monopoly and say we're going to
Correct.
charge.
And just to be clear, there's
$1 zillion.
advisory, it's kind of like a planning commission for towing.
Gotcha. All right,
They make
thank
a
you.
recommendation to the governing body, and y'all decide.
I got you.
So this is just for those particular cases where you all call for tows on vehicles that are disabled or what have you, right? This is not setting rates for the general public.
No, sir. This would only be setting rates and guidelines for those individuals that were on the public service tow list that would be utilized. Say you would have a crash out here and need a tow service, and you tell the officer, just get me whoever you think, and, the deputies just tell the dispatcher to send me the next rotation.
Okay. This is just for law enforcement requested towing services.
Yes, sir.
However, I can see those lines being blurred, because if you set a tow advisory board and we establish a dedicated list on there, going back to your point, if we're going to get into setting rates and criteria for that, but yet if I, as a private citizen, need to tow my car, and that same record company, if they've been set, I would be concerned to see what would happen when they're not under dispatch, emergency dispatch. You know what I'm saying? If a private if I called to get my car towed to Lynchburg versus dispatch called for Acme Towing to tow that car to the same place, and there's two different bills, then where do we sit?
And that would be,
Huh?
That's just private enterprise. I'm
Well, I
sorry.
understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, that would
But-
be, Mr. Adams, if, say, the crash and there was personal injury and the people were being taken to the ER wherever, and we had to utilize a rotation, and they took it to their storage lot within a day or so. When those people come around, they want to have it moved from there to wherever they want to take it. That would be up to them to ask a tow company, it's at location A, I need it taken to location B, what are you going to charge me to do it? We wouldn't be, you all or no one but the individuals would be part of that process.
So, Mr. County Attorney and County Administrator, I think I don't have a problem moving forward and, getting recommendations back for the people that would be on this board, but I think what I would like to see as part of that, before we move any further, is kind of the scope or the bylaws or whatever we call them, like we have for every other agency, so we know what this board is supposed to be doing. right? So we can look at it when we're appointing them. So, yes, ma'am.
Ms. Martin, it seems to me that this would be a job for Mr. Popovich. Ask him to put it together and give it to us.
Well, do you not think the representatives would have valuable input from Mr. Popovich, or? I mean, because what this says is that they would, will appoint the towing advisory board, so that's one thing, and then that they will develop and recommend to the Board of Supervisors the terms, conditions, and fee schedule for towing operators to provide towing services when called upon the sheriff's office. So it's almost like this is putting the cart before the horse a little bit.
By developing this board?
No, not developing the board, but it's almost like they're developing the board and doing all that at one time. So we haven't even, it reads to me almost like we're appointing the board and they're going off and, I'm tired and I don't know what I'm talking about. No, actually, I think we need to get some information from the county attorney on what they should be doing and get some recommendations from, the sheriff, interest from the towing companies, what other members need to be involved in it, and present that to us at the next meeting. Right? Because we can't do it tonight, right?
No.
So,
I don't disagree with what Sheriff's asking for, because this has been a point of contention for as long as I can
Long
remember.
time. And I'm sure the other areas around that utilize, I don't know if it's any counties here joining us, but there are localities that use a tow board, and my suggestion would be to request from them their policies, guidelines, and how they have it set up, and get 2 or 3 different ones, and you all look through it and decide how you want to do it.
For the sake of clarity, do you want us to come back with a proposed membership roster of the board, or just more information as to the scope of the board, more details on that?
I don't think this is anything that's gonna happen. If we wanna make a suggestion to move forward with the board, I don't have an issue with this, but once that advisory board has been, and who, we normally choose the advisory board members to the other committees that we do, right? So are we gonna be the ones to interview each one of
Yes.
those individual parties to select our tow board?
That's correct. That would
Okay.
be
So
y'all's
once we
choice.
do that, this is not gonna be an easy undertaking.
no.
Because there are so many facets associated with towing, as simple as it sounds. But, I mean, we get into heavy recovery to normal rollbacks and record recovery. I mean, this is gonna be a huge undertaking, and I can see, it's one thing I know about tow companies, they're passionate, so we better buckle up.
But we don't have to we don't have to
We don't
invent
have
the
to
wheel
reinvent
here,
the
because
wheel.
there's a lot of
That's right.
localities that have already done it. So why don't we research that first?
Yeah.
And then get guidance from that.
So what I'm hearing is we'd like for county attorney to bring back information, maybe what other localities have done. I think we should be very clear on what we're asking this board to do,
I agree.
right? Instead of just sending them out there saying, go set some tow fees.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a large geographical area that they possibly could have to respond to set a rate somewhere in Madison Heights versus somewhere on 60 West and having to tow it. I mean, it's gonna be it could be complicated and convoluted, so.
Well, it's like Mr. Adams said, it's on the type of scenes that you might be calling them on is, it could be anything from, flipping the vehicle back over to lifting it up over a guardrail. I mean, very time-consuming kind of stuff. So it's not just the mileage, it's the service offered. So that's why I think the tow company should be involved in setting those fees.
And I think the Virginia Code specifies as to what type of
right.
representation you shall have on that board.
Correct, Sheriff.
So what I'm hearing, board, is we're okay, there's a consensus that we probably would move forward with this, but we need more information.
Yeah, we can't move forward with the recommended motion.
And what I'm hearing is essentially maybe copies of what other counties have adopted
Sure.
in terms of their fee schedule, and their terms and conditions, so you can see kind of how it's been applied in other localities.
So do we need a motion for that, or just, just some direction?
Yeah, that's
And
the
then
direction.
to report back?
Yes, that's
Okay.
helpful, thank you.
All right. This might bite me, but I know there's several tow companies here. We're going to have a citizen comment period at the end of this meeting. If there's anything you want to say, you can have 3 minutes at the end of the meeting if you want to say it, all right? Does that make sense? Because I would like to know what you're thinking, but there we go. All right, moving on.
Thank you,
Thank
Boyd.
you, Sheriff.
Thanks, Sheriff.
County Administrator's Report, Boards, Commissions, Committees, Bill and Appeals Board vacancy. Is that you?
Yes, sir. The term of Lynn Cunningham, who's an at-large representative on the Building Appeals Board, expired April the 30th of 2024. Staff advertised the vacancy in the New Era Progress, and we've continued to post it on public notice board since that time. We did receive a letter of interest from Biff Johnson on February the 26th of 2026. As you know, Mr. Johnson is a licensed engineer that is the president for Hurt and Profit. He actually fills a need for that board in terms of having that licensure for that board. That's a need in a state code recommendation. We did have a gentleman named William Smith apply, but it came in late after the agenda was published. I did send you, board members, that email reference, but that did come in after the agenda was already published.
Board, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Bryant, only because, well, actually, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Smith both live in my district, but based on the needs, as far as the criteria for that position goes, were you telling me that Mr. Johnson was the only one that had the credentials to meet that need?
Yes, sir.
Of the vacant position? All right, the only other thing I will ask, in full disclosure, is there any issues with Mr. Johnson being associated with Hurt and Profit and the business that we do with them from Amherst County?
He would have to do any, if there were any conflicts, he would have to exclude himself from that discussion like anyone else would.
And not, Mr. Johnson, I respect him and his character, not that I would question that, but just full disclosure, I want to make sure that that's addressed. So with that being said, then I'll make the motion to appoint Biff Johnson as a representative to the Building Appeals Board for a term ending April the 30th of 2030.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right. Moving on to the opioid abatement update. And that is Ms. Browse. Hey, thanks for hanging in there with us.
All right, are we having fun yet?
Yes.
All right, so the last time we spoke with you all regarding opioid abatement was April 1st of 2025. So we're just gonna kind of do a quick recap of what opioid abatement is, what we have done so far, what's in progress, and then kind of how we plan to keep you guys updated going forward. All right? So, brief overview, Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority, also referred to as the VAOAA, is a statewide program that provides financial support to localities to aid against the opioid epidemic. The program started in 2022. It's slated to go through 2039. And essentially what it is, it's funds that are allocated to the state as they settle legalities regarding with major opioid distributors. You can get a full history of it. It's kind of long, but I have a website up there if you want to do like a more in-depth, detailed piece to it. Make sure I hit the right button. Opioid abatement utilization. So the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority has kind of outlined a list of programs, projects, initiatives that they're focused in on. It's a nice long list here: youth prevention, naloxone distribution, leave behind programs, mobile treatment programs, behavioral health crisis response teams, crisis receiving centers, recovery courts, jail diversion, just kind of very detailed in what it is that they're looking for. I do want to notate that these funds cannot be utilized for anything outside of opioid abatement projects and initiatives. So whatever we decide to do with these, it's got to be geared around that. The Amherst County Opioid Abatement Committee, once we found out that we were receiving these funds, we put together a committee of individuals, of staff here, through the various different departments to kind of help navigate how we're going to utilize those funds within the county, and to kind of head up those projects and initiatives. You can see everybody listed here. We have people within finance, the county administrator, Chief Beam. We have the schools involved, the extension, DSS, the sheriff's office, our CSA program, purchasing, and then myself as well. This is where it gets fun. There's 3 different ways in which we can receive funding through the opioid abatement. The initial one is the direct distributions. Those are funds that are done through the settlements received by the Virginia Opioid Authority and then distributed out to the localities. There's estimated as to what those funds will look like from 22 all the way to 2039. We'll look at that slide here in a little bit. Some of the other ones are the individual distributions. That can be done on, it's operated kind of like a grant basis. We apply for those funds. It comes directly to us on what we apply for. Another piece to that is the cooperative partnerships. That's when we can work kind of regionally as a group for projects together. And then the last one is the gold standard. That's something else that you would apply for as well. And what that does is that increases a percentage of what you receive in your individual distribution. Kind of if you fall within those guidelines that I spoke about earlier, those projects and initiatives that are focused on what the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority has mandated, you can receive those gold standard funds. So this here is, it's a little small, sorry. This is kind of what it's slated to look like from 2022 all the way to 2039 of what we are estimated to receive. Again, this is based on settlements. So if it settles higher or if it settles lower, those numbers might change as time goes, but that is what the estimated piece is. Whenever those settlements take place, a portion of that is set aside in a pool, if you will, for that individual distribution, as well as that gold standard. So that breaks down what those percentages could look like, or those amounts could look like for Amherst County as well. We good? Any questions as we're going? All right, so this is the update. These are prior projects that we've done to date. In 2024, there was a canine working dog was purchased and trained as part of the school resource officer's team. His name is Drax. He's wonderful. The kids love him. Officer Harrison and Drax perform their duties on a rotating schedule throughout the Amherst County public school systems. In 2025, we purchased 2 drone systems. They are housed under Amherst County Sheriff's Office to be used for opioid-related scenarios and operations. One of these systems is an aerial system. The other is a grounds system. Also in 2025, we purchased a rapid hair follicle testing system that is housed within Amherst County DSS. And what it does is it allows DSS to drug test there within the office and have those rapid responses and accurate responses to make sure that we are not placing children in vulnerable situations where drug use is taking place in the house. Projects in process. When we met on April 1st of 2025, we presented to you all the Opioid Abatement Task Force trailer. Super fun. We received a lot of the pieces in already. We applied for the individual distribution for this funding, so it is not coming out of our direct distribution. We did receive those. We were approved. The trailer has already been, it's being built out, I think is the term currently. We hope to have it up in operations by late spring, early summer of this year. So we got a lot of the equipment that goes inside of it in. We had a very fun field day here in this room, testing everything out. It was fun. We can't wait to get it up in operations and invite you guys to come play. And then another one that we are currently working on that I have briefly spoke with you all about is the participation in the cooperative partnership program between the Blue Ridge Regional Jail, Horizon Behavioral, Bedford County, Campbell County, Appomattox County, and the city of Lynchburg, including us. That is one of those regional pieces. Bedford County will be the fiscal agent. They will be responsible for overseeing how all of this works. The application was submitted, and our portion of it is going to be $50,378. It is a one-time purchase on our end. And we are in talks on if that's going to be a one-time payout or if it's going to be broken out over the 5 years. I will let you know as soon as they decide how that's going to work. This here is an expenditure breakdown of what we have spent so far. As you can see here, the Brink lemur that has a larger amount there, that is because that is a 3-year contract. We have only paid 1 year out of that contract so far, so we have 2 more to go. The total direct distribution expenditures that we have done to date is $72,219.10. Like I said, we did receive that individual distribution for $57,975. That's going to the opioid abatement trailer. And then the current opioid abatement direct distribution funding available is $216,717.87. That number is a little bit different from what you received in the email because I did not account for the other 2 payments for the Brink since we have not expensed those yet. So once we include all 3 payments for the Brink lemur and the partnership with the Blue Ridge Regional Jail Substance Use, what we would have available is $166,339.87. And again, that will continue to grow and expand as those settlements take place and what we'll be receiving. So we'll have more. We actually received an email recently for a settlement that's guaranteed to take place. We don't have those numbers yet. Once we do, we'll let you know what that looks like. Updates and appropriations plan. It is the goal of the Opioid Abatement Committee to keep the Amherst County Board of Supervisors and their citizens up to date on the ongoings of the Opioid Abatement Committee throughout the fiscal year. Going forward, the Board of Supervisors will receive a monthly update on the direction of the Opioid Abatement Committee and all proposed projects, expenditures from the Amherst County Administrator. You receive a weekly report from him. Once the committee meets monthly. Once we've met, I'll put all of that together in a brief summary of what we talked about, any kind of future projects that we might have coming up, and I'll provide that to Mr. Bryant to provide with you all in your weekly updates. And then the finance director looks to appropriate available opioid abatement funding within the budget fiscal year to be utilized throughout the year for approved projects, initiatives, expenditures for Amherst County. That's all I got. You got any questions? I try to keep it brief.
Mr. Chair, the only thing I had, as far as from an operational local standpoint, Sheriff or Major, are your officers doing the officer deployed Narcan in the field? Y'all are doing that now? Yes, sir, we are. All right. Are we able to, and how are you funding that project? Are you funding it out of these funds? Narcan, no, sir. I know it's not a huge expense, but for Chief Beam and for you guys, I mean, obviously this money has got to be directly tied back to some sort of opioid program. Can we use it for those things, Leslie?
Oh, he's not in here. We have spoken about the naloxone distribution with Chief Beam. He's
back there.
Oh, there you are.
He's
You're
hiding.
Do you want to come into this one?
We have talked about the Narcan program. Currently, the Narcan program, I'm not sure, Sheriff, if y'all are getting that through one of the other programs. There's several different programs where it's made pretty inexpensive.
Okay.
But we've talked about trying to expand that program and potentially do a takeaway Narcan program or something when folks come into this. And so we've looked at some of those educational programs and so forth with the Narcan. For us, we can't do it because of our DA licensure. We cannot, like, for example, I couldn't put Narcan in my vehicle because we are an EMS licensed, and so just there's a lot of regulations around that.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, board? Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mr.
Leslie.
Rouse.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, county attorney's report.
Good evening, board members. Just briefly from me, the city of Lynchburg intends to file an amicus brief in the redistricting lawsuit out of Tazewell County in the Supreme Court of Virginia, and is asking whether other localities want to join their efforts and split the costs of filing the pleading. It's a amicus brief means it's a friend of the court. You're not a party, but you have an interest, and you submit a brief in support of position. This being in support of the judge's ruling on the redistricting challenge. Botetourt and Appomattox have committed to joining the effort at this point. I would estimate the cost would be less than $20,000 total. At this point, no more than $5,000, given that you'd be the fourth one if you choose to commit. And if others join, then obviously that cost will keep going down per locality. But that's all I have in terms of the county attorney report. If you have any questions or wish to take any action.
Board. Okay, moving on to liaison reports. First is Parks and Recreation. How about something that's actually fun to talk about? So, Amherst County Day and the Parks and Rec Easter egg hunt will be held at Sweetbriar College Saturday, March 28th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. with the egg hunt at 3 p.m., right? So that's good. The other thing is that our Parks and Rec department does a great job, but all of the sports things that they put on, from flag football to soccer, all of that have great participation. There's a senior luncheon coming up on May the 19th, which is a Tuesday. June 17th is the Bateau Festival starting, and also the Day in the Park will be held at Mill Creek Lake, July 25th from 11 to 3, and that's always a good time. So with that, we will move on to the Agricultural Committee.
Yeah, not much to report. Thanks, everyone, for the overwhelming support of two really good members that were added to the Ag Committee. They're just off to a great start. Very happy about that. Nothing else to report.
Thank you, Ms. Tucker. All right, moving on. Citizen comment. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. If you'd come forward and state your name, you have 3 minutes.
Sam Bryant, District 1, Tom Martin. Chairman Martin, the rest of the board. I know most of you guys, I don't know Mr. Campbell very well, but I was former public safety director here and have been in fire EMS and some law enforcement capacity, even with the sheriff's office, for about 40 years, different local, state, federal. Anyway, I'm looking for common ground, but I'm really asking our citizens, I'm looking at your camera, to be involved in our community, because you guys and girls are sitting here, men and women, gentlemen, ladies, trying to figure this budget out. And it's a hard budget system. There's a lot of money that's been spent. You got some hard decisions to make. And you're not going to make everybody happy, but someone has to be in the hot seat and make the decisions. So I support you in that. What I'd ask, though, is, and just an idea that I had trying to listen to you come up the road, I've been on travel today for other work. You know, and Ms. Tucker may know more about this than me, but insurance companies, they have programs where you have health and wellness programs for employees. Fire, EMS, law enforcement, or all employees. And I know there's at least one chief in here that I know goes to the gym and works out. I work out pretty hard with kettlebell, and I respect that. Something special happens in the ranks when you see that, when you see the key leader do that. So I'd encourage that if there's any way to look at our people that serve this community and help them be healthier. And I'd ask you not to forget about down the road, if you find a big pile of money or a bunch of gold coins, about an ag center and some other incentives to keep kids here, because that's just one part of it. But Votech Center, anything we can do to keep the kids here, because if you know anything about electrical, plumbing, or agricultural, you're in trouble unless you got a green thumb or someone else to help you. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant.
Thanks, Ms. Bryant.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Yes, sir. If you come forward and say. Yes, 3 minutes.
How you doing? My name is George Stanley. I represent Smiley's Towing. Been in the community for 15 years or more, towing. I commend Mr. Ayers. He's done the community a great deed. He has. He's gotten the drugs and alcohol and stuff out of the schools and everything. The county's going in the right direction. But as far as the towing, when you try to regulate someone's fee, that'd be like me trying to regulate one of y'all's costs, is what you've done for the day. And that's the Virginia board has a towing board, and it's located in Richmond. And if anybody feels like they've ever been fairly mistreated, that's the board. All you can do is call that board. And I mean, if the officers would give out an 800 number, if you feel like you were, mistreated, call this board here. That's who will take care of you. But as far as setting someone's pay scales, Amherst County is divided in middle, north and south is what it's considered. And it reaches all the way to the Parkway, reaches all the way to Nelson, reaches Buckingham, all the way to Lynchburg. And to say how much you're gonna charge somebody, you know, in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock when they pull over a drug dealer and they want the car impounded, you know, they're the ones, if you want the car impounded, everything costs more. That's just like going to a doctor. You know, x-rays cost more, cash costs more, everything costs. But to run a tow service, it is expensive. And the county, my suggestion would be to Mr. Ayers is to, that list that he has, that rotating list, when it's been abused, it's his list. All he has to do is call that person in and say, this is a complaint, and this is what they've done to me now, and we're gonna take you off the list until this is investigated. And we'll determine then whether you get put back in rotation or you're permanently off of it. There's enough tow trucks running around here that's got plates on them for regular pickup trucks. We have to have a special permit. I have mine in my pocket. It's called a DAD, a driver's authorization document. We have to go through a process to the criminal justice to be approved to even operate a tow truck. Then we have to have all the other insurances that come along with it. And to stand up here and say that we're overcharging, well, maybe some of them are. Some people are getting gouged, but I can promise you this. If you don't have, well, I shouldn't say it like this, but if you don't want to ask the person how much they're charging you, then that's like putting your credit card out there for them to take charge of it. Anybody that's ever called my towing company, I don't want to ask you but 3 things. What you got, where you're going, and how you're paying. I give you a price right then before I pull off.
Thank you.
I mean, that is a standard to me. If you don't ask me, you're going to get gouged. If you go in the store and you just pick up something and put it on a thing to pay for it, well, then you pay for it when you get there. Most people look at the price of something and put it back.
Thank you. I need you to wrap it up.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. Come forward and give us your name, and you have 3 minutes.
My name is Jerry Yancey. I represent Polk's Towing. The only problem I see, they were to go back to the ones that skip because it's a junk car. Put them on a list, you get 3 strikes. 3 strikes, you off for 6 months. I run for City View Towing. He got kicked off a list because he overgouged. That ain't my problem. I just drive. I drove trucks for Smiley and myself. I worked 3 years straight. Every holiday, not this year. I'm ready to sell. If I don't do butter, I'm selling.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Hearing or seeing none, citizen comment is closed. Matters from the board. Ms. Tucker?
I don't have anything.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell?
I'll get you next time.
All right, Mr. Pugh?
I have nothing.
Mr. Adams?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Adams. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote